There are 5 dimensions that are essential in pioneering the well-being thinking, developing it into ambitious visions, applying it in a meaningful manner, pursuing excellence in its momentum, creating standards that will be worth emulating, and sustaining the pursuit of well-being at a superior level that can help achieve the elusive concept of happiness. The first dimension is to understand what well-being represents and where is its pervasiveness and how to scope it as an ecosystem. Well-being is to be understood as the purpose of a modern organization that puts customers and citizens at the heart of everything that it does. Well-being orientation includes 5 distinctive critical factors. The first one is to ensure that all government entities are guided in a similar manner at a policy level through the creation of an overarching government policy. In other words, it is to determine that the primary function of government as a common agenda is to be driven by well-being. The second factor is that well-being has got to be defined in terms of ambitious plans, strategies, and a clear vision that is implementable by having, for instance, a national program that defines where the government seeks to go and what is involved in the areas where serious and determined emphasis is going to be put on, and what would the overall contribution be is a significant aspect that will determine the level of seriousness and commitment that the government has in relation to its well-being agenda. The third factor is putting things into practice by integrating the concept of well-being in the core functions of every single government entity. This is really what well-being orientation starts to mean, and it is what gets delivered and what gets managed at the core, and what will in the end distinguish government entities in terms of the capabilities that they have worked so hard on nurturing, developing, and leading towards a distinctive level. In the end, having a distinctive know-how on how to implement well-being is creating role model standards that other countries can learn from. The fourth aspect is measuring the impact, and the more significant impact of well-being is improvements and enhancements in the quality of life. It is very much about tangible and intangible outcomes that touch physical, psychological, and emotional aspects of people's lives. The fifth factor is the commitment to sustain well-being through learning, innovating, disrupting, and ensuring that contributions to improving the quality of life are positively made and enhancements in terms of the achievements can be felt with confidence. This factor links very much to the being and believing aspects of government entities, and will ensure that what can be referred to as purposefulness is maintained. The second dimension is the role of leadership in inspiring, inducing, implementing, impacting, and innovating for maintainability of well-being. The process is a total life cycle and can be referred to as the process of the leadership of well-being. If well-being is defined in the right way, it will get communicated in the right way, guided for implementation in the right way, and developed in the right way so that it delivers the right results. And if it is driven by belief and being, it will continue to grow and impact positively on enhancing the quality of life. The third dimension is for any organization at any level to start to create the momentum of well-being by very much applying the guidance received from government policy on well-being and putting in place well-being at the heart of strategic direction and enabling this through defining a clear agenda, a clear program, a clear strategy with clear goals and objectives, and implementing through practicing well-being at the core in the main critical functions by developing capabilities and enhancing the value that gets rendered in terms of impacting positively on the quality of life of citizens, communities, and society at large. The measurement of well-being is correlated directly to the commitment that a government entity puts in building its capabilities and developing the necessary know-how. And impacting is not for the relative standpoint, but the sustainability of well-being, as ultimately the level of ambition should be towards touching people's hearts by reaching to a total happiness perspective, even if this is an elusive goal. The fourth aspect is that the overall effectiveness of well-being implementation is not just in doing linear effort of initiatives and projects and measuring their outcomes. It is integrated, holistic, and looks at the maturity of government entities in driving well-being as an ecosystem. And 5 distinctive areas are worthy of mention. The level of commitment through understanding the well-being orientation and driving everything else within the government entity through that, ensuring that the well-being is the leadership responsibility, implementing well-being by generating the right momentum of impact by looking at the holistic aspects of well-being as an ecosystem, and measuring the impact in both tangible and intangible outcomes, and sustaining the path towards the elusivity of happiness as the 5th element. 2 areas for creating the right catalyst effect of well-being. On the one hand, the pursuit of happiness has to be based on creating cohesion between the various government entities. It has to be understood that well-being is not a concept that can be implemented in silos in a blinkered fashion, but it has to be based on the synergy levels that are created between various government entities to establish interdependencies, linkages, and to gradually look at the common features that impact on the quality of life of people and communities by the cohesiveness that takes place. And the second element is that for the whole government, the pursuit of excellence in well-being has to be based on the translation of gradual cohesion that takes place between various government sub-ecosystems by building synergy levels of a high order into ultimately harmonization of all government sub-ecosystems through the establishment of a seamless alignment towards happiness.